absolute drivel. Oh my goodness. So a few of y'all have tagged me in this video, and Lord in heaven, this video is nothing more than a black woman just tap dancing, okay? She's just talking about victim mindset and yada, yada, yada. The typical talking points of, of races.
Any black person that listens to The View, D.L. Hughley, Joy Reid, Roland Martin, Pastor Jamal Bryant, Jasmine Crockett, life must really suck for them to encourage you to have a victim mindset as if you're oppressed, and they're making all this money just to sell you that. Life must really suck. You should really think for yourselves. You should really wake up. But good luck.
I miss you like a hog miss fly, like a baby miss mammy's titty.
Now, first things first, one thing we have to understand is that there is a business of anti-black, and that business has been around since we got off the boats, okay? Back in the day, it was meritorious manumission, and it's the same thing happening today. It's just an evolution of that practice. And what that practice was is that in some cases, slaves would get freed by their masters for doing good deeds. Now, you can imagine what a slave master would view as a good deed. And of course, that had to do with snitching and telling, master, they about to rebel tonight, master. Oh, I know about the Underground Railroad, master. That's what they about to do. That's what that had to deal with. And of course, they would be rewarded for such anti-black behavior, for such hatred. Now, what has happened presently in this country is that meritorious manumission has, evolved in what we now see as, black Republicans, blacks for Trumps and whatnot. And you have these people who, white racists hire to talk bad about black people. They talk about black people being victims. They talk about them being criminals. It's always, it's always demeaning and belittling black people and uplifting who? White people. Because that is their job. Their job is to make racists feel good about themselves. What do you think the Minstrel Shows were? What do you think as far as meritorious and manumission was? What do you think all of that was? It was to make racists feel good about being racist, to make them feel superior. That was the whole purpose of these Sambos, of these coons, of these race traders. That's what they are. They would betray their own race for some type of transactional, gift. Whether that was money, whether that was job placement. So when we look at the crux of this woman's, fallacious argument, what is she really saying? She's really saying that, hey, there are black people out there that are promoting victimhood mindset and they're making money off of it. Now, all the people that she mentioned, none of them promote victimhood mindset. And before we tackle the whole victimhood mindset, we have to understand the hypocrisy of her even saying this, because this is what these Sambos, these race traders do. They promote, racist talking points. The same racist talking points that they had, in Birth of a Nation in the White House. You have to understand that. They showed this racist film depicting black people as savages, as criminals, as rapists, as murderers in the White House. That's where we've come from. Okay, and it's not very much different from right now.
Damn.
You want to know what I would pay big money to see? I would pay big money to see when they had the Japanese concentration camps. They were locking people up. I would have loved to see Fox News bring on the Japanese and say, hey, you know what? It's not that bad, all right? They got drinks in there. They got food. I don't know why people are complaining. We don't need reparations. We don't need this whole Japanese reparations is a sham. This is a victim mindset. We don't need that. You want to know what I would love to see and have paid to see is to see Fox News bring on a Jewish person during the Holocaust and have them going, you know what? When it comes to reparations for Jews, we don't need that. Jewish people don't need reparations. We'll be just fine. We got to have a victor mindset, not a victim mindset. You can keep your money. We don't need reparations. You want to know what I would love to see? That during the whole COVID-19, when they were talking about Asian hate crime, stop Asian hate, I would have loved to see Fox News bring on an Asian person and they come out and say, you know what, all this propaganda of black people attacking Asians, that is nonsense. That is not true. Okay, there is no hate crimes going on against Asians, all right? We need to stop being victims and be victors. If you don't want to be attacked, then, bring a pepper spray. Bring your Second Amendment. That's what it's for. So stop being victims, okay? I would love to have seen that.
Damn.
So what you have to be aware of is malicious framing. That's usually one of their go-to tactics, right? They'll say it's victimhood mindset. Victimhood mindset. Stop being a victim. Now, if we look at when it comes to white people, when we analyze, when they talk about things, when we say, hey, we're being unfairly treated, they say, hey, stop being a victim. When white people say, hey, we're being unfairly untreated, then it's a serious problem. Then America has a problem. Then we have Trump saying, hey, there's an anti-white sentiment that needs to be addressed. When we say, hey, that person was unfairly shot, you didn't need to kill that person, they say, hey, you shouldn't have done the crime. When you have Ashley Babbitt, who did what she did and was fatally shot, what did they say? The black officer is at fault, okay? This is horrible. What happened? Why did he shoot her? So you have to understand that you can't listen to these racists at all because they have no moral standing, okay? They have no moral ground. It's simply that they are filled with anti-black hatred and they will do anything in their power to promote that. And we see this everywhere. We can look at Ben Shapiro. Once again, whether it's whites, white Jews, whatever. They have made a business. Ben Shapiro loved Candace Owens, okay? Candace Owens, as I call her. Loved her, right? Loved her as long as she was putting out anti-black venom. Hey, stop being a victim, be a victor. Hey, stop being a criminal, okay? And then maybe you wouldn't get shot. Hey, police brutality is a myth. Hey, he even funded her to put out an anti-black, George Floyd bullcrap documentary, which I debunked, okay? Because it was just riddled with just falsehoods and maliciously edited clips to promote a narrative, a false narrative. But of course, when you're dealing with, racists, they don't care. These white racists don't care. They just want they want confirmation bias. Yeah, they're a criminal. Show me a video that shows me they're a criminal. Oh, look, see, they're a criminal. That's the type of IQ that we're dealing with. But they will get people to promote that, hey, they're superior, that their IQ is way far greater, that, they'll even get, people to write books about such things and do studies about such things. This is, this is a case of a very inferior group of people, and a very inferior group of races, just so we're clear. Having said that, upon Candace Owens doing all this work, what happens? When she then puts the reticle on Jewish people, then what happens to her? She becomes anti-Semitic. She becomes a bad person. She becomes evil. She becomes wicked. She gets shunned. No longer at CPAC. No longer at TPUSA events. No longer around, the Republican conservative right now. Because now she's been deemed the number one anti-Semitic. Okay? That's what happens. So you have to understand these wicked people such as Ben Shapiro and the rest of them, this lineage of evil, as I say, they don't want the truth. They want propaganda, and they really like anti-black propaganda, because what these fools will do is that they don't care about how they make their money as long as they make their money. When the scripture says the love of money is a root of all evil, we can see currently right now by Ben Shapiro and the rest of them how they treat people. They don't care how they make their money. They can make their money off of debauchery. They can make their money off of murder. As we can see in Gaza, they can make their money off of anything as long as they make their money. They don't care. Their morals is a big joke. So going back to what she's saying, a better way to elucidate my point is, let's say we're dealing with Nazi Germany, okay? And a Jewish person escaped. Little Ben Shapiro escaped, okay? And we have an interview with little Ben Shapiro. And little Ben Shapiro has established, a business outside of Nazi Germany. He's doing very well. And he says, you know what? The problem with Jews right now in Nazi Germany is that they're victims, okay? That's all they are. They just want to be victims and not victors, okay? Look at me. I've managed to do very well for myself. I don't see myself as a victim. That's the very big distinction between me and those people in Nazi Germany in those concentration camps. Now, you can imagine the type of uproar that would come from such a foolish statement, from such a foolish, false framing of what's going on. Because this is the same false framing they applied to who? Black people, right? We get these sambos, these race traitors, such as this woman in this video, who say such ignorant things. When white people have a problem with the country, what do they say? Well, we got to talk to our representatives. We got to make a change. This is horrible. This woke, this is DEI. We got to stop this. What they don't respond with is, hey, why don't you just leave the country? I've never heard any Republican, any racist tell another white person, hey, why don't you just leave the country if you don't like it? If you don't like DEI, leave the country. If you don't like woke and all this woke agenda, why don't you just leave the country? Never have heard it. When black people say, hey, we need to put an end to police brutality. This is horrible. Hey, we need to do something about, people homelessness, okay? About housing and healthcare. People are dying. Well, they say, hey, if you don't like the country, why don't you just leave? If you don't like the country, why don't you just leave? Think about that. That is the most un-American, unpatriotic thing to say. Because it's the same people who want to glorify the country. Oh, America, America, America. But then promote such un-American things like that. Because if their founding fathers had that same mindset, where would they be? Okay, if they didn't stand and fight for a better America, where would this country be? If we still had segregation, we still had Jim Crow, we still had as far as women not being able to vote. If there weren't people in the country that wanted the country to aspire to a greater level, to aspire to what they say is the country, right? Oh, the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness and everything. Everything can be happened here and it's the American dream. If they're not people who are willing to fight for the American dream, then what are you talking about? Huh? What are you talking about?
He's out of line, but he's right.
This is the hypocritical stance that these racists and that these race-trading anti-black coons and Sambos have. This is, in some cases, they know their position. They're simply just doing it to get a paycheck. These racists, they know that they're racist, but they do it because there's a business behind it. That's what you have to understand. So when you have a woman like this saying foolishness like that, and that's what that is, it's foolishness. Because what you have to understand is I can acknowledge that there are obstacles in black people's way. I can acknowledge that there's clearly some disenfranchisement that has occurred. I can acknowledge the red line. I can acknowledge the Jim Crow. I can acknowledge the slavery. I can acknowledge the post-traumatic slave syndrome that many black Americans have in this country. But what I can also acknowledge is that how we can overcome it, how we can, achieve greater. But what the racist whites of the Republican want is that for you to not acknowledge any type of obstacles. What they want you to do is turn a blind eye to all the sins that they've done, to all the sins that this country has done to a group of people. That's what they want you to do. Why? Because it makes them feel good. It means they don't have to do anything, right? If you just simply say, well, I'm gonna get through it, then guess what? They don't have to move the boulder out of the road. If you're constantly saying, well, I'm just going to go around, well, I'll just take a detour, then great. That's what they want. The moment in time you say, well, you know what? I'm just going to let the racists just, if they don't want to hire me, they don't want to hire me. Great. They're like, awesome. This is great. Now I just get to be racist. But when you start to fight, be like, no, that's not right. I want the same good education y'all got in your nice little, white neighborhoods in my black neighborhoods. That's when they have a problem. They always have a problem when you want actual equality. They always have a problem when you want actual justice, because that is not how they designed this country up. That is not how they designed this country to behave, to act. That's why people talk about systemic issues. It's not the fact that you can't beat these systemic issues. It's the fact that they exist. That's the issue. The issue is that we should be moving forward to eradicating these systems, to eradicating this injustice. That's what we should be doing. Not just telling people, we'll just deal with it. These are the type of people that if they were doctors and the person came in and said, every time I do this, my arm hurts, they would simply say, just don't do that. That's what they want. They want to be lazy. They want to be mediocre. And apparently, when you get Vivek who tell them, hey, you've created a culture of mediocrity, okay? That you guys really aren't really superior. You're kind of inferior in many cases because you're lazy. And that's a culture that you've cultivated here in this country. They don't want to hear that. Why? Because then they'd have to change. Anyways, guys, that's a video. I don't see how you can have a disagreement unless you're just a racist and ignorant. That's it. And if you're racist and ignorant, I got nothing really to say to you anyway. I hope you go to hell. That's it. Really, pretty much it. Anyways, if you happen to disagree, you know where to find me, Friday to Sunday. Call in and we duke it out. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to like, share, comment. Let me know what you guys think about this and subscribe and that fun stuff. Till next time, guys, be amazing. If they're not people who are willing to fight for the American dream, then what are you talking about?